So they had a mobile app on their phone and they would put in the time and what they were doing when they came up with a creative idea. The expectation was that 50% of their good ideas would come while working and 50% of their good ideas would come while mindlessly or letting their mind wander. The reality was that just 10% of their most creative ideas came from mindless thought. We predict that just letting our mind run free and going on a walk or going on a run and thinking about something else, that will give us a flash of brilliance. I think we predict that because those are the stories that stick in our mind. The apple falling on Newton's head and think about gravity. Those are the stories that stick in our mind. But in reality, 9 times out of 10, the best idea we have is through working on the actual thing that is related to the idea. If you want to have the best ever idea that you'll have about writing a novel, spend 2 hours writing a novel. I guarantee you'll have a good idea in the middle of those 2 hours.
Well, you've raised something there that's interesting because you covered in an episode a while ago about brainstorming, whether it works or not. I mean, I remember when, I don't know why, but brainstorming became an offensive term at one point, and I think it's gone back again. Someone somewhere tried to introduce thought shower, but nobody, and it's back to brainstorm. Unless I'm going to get told off for saying that. What did you find out on brainstorming then? Because there'll be a lot of people listening to this who do brainstorm their ideas, their campaigns. Does it work? Does it not work?
No, it doesn't work. I don't think this will be a surprise to many people who have been in brainstorming sessions. The researcher, I had her on my show, I'm going to forget her name. No, Sheena Iyengar is the researcher. She's famous because she did the very, very notorious studies with jam in US grocery stores. Behavioral science fans will know that. But her most recent book and her recent studies have all been about brainstorming. And she has reviewed the studies and run her own studies. And she finds that creative ideas or sheer volume or quantity of ideas, quality and quantity, decreases when you do a brainstorm. And there's lots of reasons why. I won't get into all of it because you start getting into a whole field of psychology here. But there's the authority bias. So we really do follow whoever is the highest paid, most important person in the room. If they share a preference for an idea early on, we'll just get on the bandwagon. There's prejudice and discrimination. There's a bias for, well, it can depend, sometimes a bias for novelty. We get tired, we get bored. But coming up with ideas on the spot, like we were saying earlier, Chris, is just not a very good way to think of ideas. What Sheena Iyengar found was a much more effective way to run a brainstorming session is have everybody learn about the problem beforehand. So let's say the problem is our conversion rate on our website is plummeting. That's the problem. Send out an email explaining the problem and then say to 6 people who are attending that meeting, can you spend half an hour this week coming up with a solution and then present it for 5 minutes during the meeting? Everybody thinks about the problem, comes to the meeting, spends 5 minutes presenting it. In peer-reviewed studies, the quality of the output of that type of meeting, where people come prepared and present their ideas, is much higher. You get a higher quantity and higher quality of potential solutions to that problem than you would if you just had a meeting and said, our website conversions are falling. Let's all come up with some ideas on the spot. And people are petrified and nobody wants to do it. So brainstorming doesn't seem to work. This prepared brainstorming, as I think what you would call it, seems to work a lot better.